So I, like a lot of people, have been watching the situation with DayStar unfold, and I've seen a couple posts about DayStar's PR team. I saw one on Twitter by an account called Darkstar Telly, and it said that the PR team was killing it. Now, the post was a spoof, and it basically chronicled some of the things that the account holder feels that DayStar did wrong. Now, I'm going to tell you a few things, and I'd like you to stay with me until the end. I'm making this video because I enjoy connecting public relations with practical life. And so when I see things and there's a clear parallel or an opportunity to explain PR, I take it. Try to stay with me until the end. So I saw this account on Twitter, and it was like a spoof of everything that DayStar television, that this account holder feels they're mishandling in terms of public relations. And the background of this post, you could see, like I said, the different things that the account holder feels that DayStar is doing wrong. Then there's a picture of someone holding a match, and then they let the match go. And as you can see, things are going up in flames. And I've shared this before. Whenever there's a crisis situation, you see people who say, "Oh, well, their PR team is working overtime," or "Why would their PR team condone this?" In this post that I'm referencing, it said that the PR team is killing it, and of course that was sarcastic, right? And so I just want to explain a few things about public relations. First, the public relations team, it includes more than just the publicist, right? But the job of a publicist is to advise and recommend. It doesn't mean that the principal or the leadership of an organization is going to accept that advice. And if you are a publicist and there are several people in the communications department, you may not have an opportunity to speak directly to the principal of an organization. You may be reporting to someone who's higher up. But for the public, a lot of times when they think of a leader, they think of a publicist or a PR team. The other thing is, if you work for someone who doesn't value your position, who doesn't value your role, they're not going to listen to what you have to say. Believe it or not, there are a lot of people who believe that the job of a publicist is just to parrot what the leadership tells them, not necessarily to advise or to give insight or to be brought in on the conversation early enough so that their input could impact how the organization is perceived via what the organization does. The truth is, some people have a very low opinion of publicists. They view publicists as the help, people who fix problems. And it's not just the publicists, it's the communications team broadly. So not viewing them as advisors or confidants or even protectors of the brand, but instead as people who carry out what we want them to do. So we're going to tell them. It's not going to be a two-way street where the communications team is giving us feedback and we are considering whether or not we act on that feedback. And if you're in a situation like this where you're working for an organization and they see you as the help, good luck. Moreover, if you are a publicist or a part of a communications team and you work for a narcissist or a team of narcissists, they are not going to feel like they need your advice anyway. They're going to feel like they know better. Who are you? What do you know? And they're likely not going to create space to hear the advice of the publicist or the communications team. And then in some workplaces, the culture is so toxic that if you suggest anything that is contrary or counter to what the leadership wants you to do, you won't be there long, right? Because they are not going to tolerate that. I think that the other thing that we fail to realize about PR teams is that a PR team is bigger than just the people who have a PR title. The PR team includes anyone who advises, anyone who has the ear and who has influence over the leadership, because they are constantly speaking into that leader, or they're receiving information and then they're having to, let the principal or the leaders know how they feel, right? Or they are proactively advising, saying, you should do this, you should do that. The thing is, if that advisor is not a person of integrity, or if those advisors aren't people of integrity, if they don't have their ear to the ground to understand not just how people inside the organization feel, but how their base, how their audience, and how the public feels, they're not going to be able to give good advice, right? There's a scripture in the Bible that talks about how in the multitude of counsel there is wisdom and there is safety. The thing for leaders and the trick for people who are on the PR side or people who are advising, first the leaders have to create the space where it is safe for people to tell them the truth. And if the leader is someone who is viewed as being reactionary, who's viewed as having a temper or being temperamental, or who's viewed as knowing it all, they are not going to create an environment in the workplace where they get honest feedback. People are going to tell them exactly what they think that person wants to hear. Now, on the other side, for the communications team, the publicists, the advisors, the trick is to not be so overawed with the person who you work for or the leaders who you work for that you will not tell them the truth, that you will not give them honest feedback. But the truth is, if you're in a position where you're working for a leader who has this larger than life persona, they have a lot of money and maybe they are promising you what you're going to get, or they have status, they know a lot of people. If we're not careful, we can become so obsessed with getting what we think we deserve or what we want that we will put that to the side versus giving our honest opinion. And that is the trick for publicists, for advisors, is to be grounded, to be people of integrity, and to tell the truth in love. And if you're in an environment where you feel like the truth is not going to be accepted, or if their truth doesn't align with your truth, you have to ask yourself how long you are going to stay. The other piece of this is for leaders and for publicists and communications team. The leader is looking for people who are aligned with them, right? And ideally, the publicist is looking for clients, and the communications team is looking for leaders who they feel some level of alignment with. I will tell you, in my 23 years of doing public relations, I've worked with a variety of people. And most of the people who I've worked with, the overwhelming majority of the people who I've worked with, I agree with the big picture of who they are, what they're trying to accomplish, and why it matters. It doesn't mean that I agree with every tactic that they may embrace or every decision that they may choose. But again, my job is to advise and to recommend and to tell the truth as I see it. Now, if they don't accept it, or if they create a pattern where they don't want to hear it, I have to evaluate if this is a place or an environment where I want to be. And there have been many situations where I've said, okay, we're no longer aligned and I'm going to separate myself. And leaders have done that as well. So again, I think the trick for publicists is to not be overawed with the boss, or to not be so in love with the boss that they won't tell the truth. I also think that the trick or the task for leaders is to seek out people who have the courage to tell the truth, and then to create the environments where they hear the truth. Sometimes we hear of these big mistakes and we say, okay, how did this person do this? How did they get it so wrong? And it's easy to say, okay, well, they're surrounded by yes people. And you know what? In many situations, they may be. In other situations, they are not creating the environment where people feel free and comfortable to speak up and to tell the truth. So these are my thoughts. Drop down in the comment. Let me know what you think. And if you have not already, please like, subscribe, and share this content. Thank you for listening, and thank you for watching.